Angel Heart Radio. I'm Annette McCoy. It's fabulous being back, and with me today is Marney Perna. Hello, Marney.
Hello, Annette. Lovely to have you back.
Oh, it's fabulous to be back. Yes. And I want to thank Annette and also Carol Ann for standing in for me, and for you and Janet and Elaine for going with the flow and still presenting shows on Angel Heart Radio. It was very much appreciated.
Why would we not?
By me. Okay, so, well, today we thought that, well, Marnie suggested the topic, which was very gratefully received by me, and talking about the animals in spirit.
Yeah.
Now, do you mean totems, Marnie?
Kind of totems, but sometimes their message is relevant as well. So an animal can be a totem, but it can also be a guidepost for whatever's going on in your life.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes we have a particular animal that is our totem, and other times
yes.
an animal will show up with a certain message. And that's kind of where I was going to this time, not just as a totem, but as a messenger. What is the message from that particular animal for me at the moment?
Excellent, because for me, we're talking about the same but different, in that I think animals have messages if I suddenly see one. Like, I've got pelicans are very related to my husband, and the boys and I, we all have the same feeling. If we see a pelican, we know that Barry is certainly there.
Yeah, absolutely. They're also about simplicity and abundance, pelicans, as a card message.
Right.
So.
And I had a fascinating experience the day that I was actually leaving London. So last Thursday, I went for a walk through Kensington Park. Absolutely adore that area. Pardon me. And I had food for the birds. Anyway, the ravens were plentiful. And the further I walked, the more that came around me. I would have to say that I had a murder of ravens.
Oh, okay. Yep.
It was incredible.
Because they're not a sociable animal usually, are they?
Well, no, I was a bit surprised. And I went, I mean, it's great to have one or two. And I
but not a whole group.
In my backyard.
They
were
can chatter very loudly
around me. And I know that they have messages. It was interesting looking at Scott Alexander King's book this morning, and checking out the fact that, yes, they're about messages, and also changing the situation. So changing anything negative or illness. So it was very, very interesting that happened on the last day of my trip. It was as though, I'm going back to something new. That's how I tended to look at it.
Different. I know you can have, like, certain animals show up at different times for people. You have the pelican. I know I connect magpies with my mum. So if I'm really feeling, I'm really missing her, a magpie will turn up and warble. Like, it'll just make this funny sound for me. And the energy of my clinic is a seahorse energy. So I tap into the clinic. And I know when I first picked the seahorse, when it picked me, I contacted Scott Alexander King to actually find out what the seahorse was about. What was the message of seahorse?
Right.
Excuse me.
Yes, and interesting that you mentioned the magpie, because since my parents have passed, they've become very significant, because magpies used to be in my parents' backyard, especially after Dad passed, and now they're here. They weren't in my village. I wasn't aware of them in my village until sometime last year, and it was like, oh, hello, and that their warbling is beautiful.
Beautiful, yeah. And they don't do it all the time. So you find when they do sing to you, they're singing to you, they're soothing your soul.
Okay, all right. Well,
So what I did today is I picked a range of cards and then looked at the totem animal that went with their card, but then read the message of the totem as well. All right. So I play with the angel feather cards, and as a practitioner of angel therapy, we got to learn about the different totem animals that go with the certain colours. And then from that, because I also have a lovely range of cards, I've got this beautiful set here, which is Animal Voices. Now, she's a Melbourne lady that did all the paintings for that too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're just gorgeous as a card set. I don't know if you can see them.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
Now, isn't it interesting? I'm not aware of that pack, and you said that you haven't got
Alexander King's, no. So Susan Farrell did all the artwork for this. She's a Melbourne artist, and she does some workshops. And then I also used some of the animal wisdom cards as well. And the third set I got was a new set I've got, which is spirit animal oracles. So
lovely.
I know. So from that range, I was able to draw a card that was relevant to the totem animal of the colour. So the messages for people listening today, the colour is significant. So the colour and the animal or the subject create an extra guidepost for you. So if you're coming to a decision making or something's going on in your life and you're wanting to know, am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing? Messages from angels are our confirmation that we are. So it might be a 5-cent piece on the ground. It might be the feather that's out of place. But sometimes it's also a colour. All right. So, and it will just show up. And if that colour is part of the decision making, the angels are saying behind you, hey guys, remember I mentioned this colour is relevant to what's going on.
Right.
That make sense to you?
It does. It does. I would like to welcome Mary Ann Massa and also Del for joining us. Thank you for reaching out and telling us that you're there. It's always lovely.
Absolutely. I've lost my little book.
So if ladies, if you've had experiences with spirit animals, or if you feel drawn to one in particular, feel free to make comments, ask questions.
So the first card and colour I chose is black. So the black angel feather, some people don't like it because it says the answer is no, but no might just mean not at this time. So it might mean just park it for now and let things percolate, let things come together, because it just might need time. All right. For me, it's a magical colour because it's all about the little black dress and a bit of chic and positivity as well. Right. And the cat, which is beautiful, I've got to find where my camera is. So that's the cat spirit. And the cat spirit is reminding you to claim your independence. So cats can be very aloof. They're not always, they won't always do what you want them to. So they are an independent species. So cats own you rather than you owning a cat, whereas the dog you own. Right? The cats are that little bit more independent. And what they're saying is they're telling you to claim your independence and allow for some space between you and others in your life. So you might be being overwhelmed by somebody, all right? And you're trying to, make your decision or create something, but everyone's on top of you. You're not giving yourself space. So you need to be able to put those boundaries in place and say, hey, I need some boundaries here. I need some space between whatever's going on. It might even be there's a lot of stuff happening in the family life, but you need to think about something clearly. So you need to step away from what's happening in the family and come into some independent space.
Right.
All right. Now, that could be just you've got your special place in the house that you can go and sit and ponder and meditate. Right,
very cool. Can I interrupt you for a minute? Because Belinda Brown has joined us. Hello, Belinda. And I want to, it's all right. I thought that my chat wasn't working, but it is. Nothing like finding our own space.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, so cat spirit, and cats can turn up at different places at different times as well. So, just remember that there's often a message there if it's unusual, if it's not part of the norm. They're acknowledging your presence and they're saying, you know, they're looking after you.
Well, that's nice to know, isn't it? Always very comforting.
So the cat actually has, it helps you when you're facing unpredictable situations as well.
Okay.
So just I often say to clients, Google the animal message. If a particular animal shows up in your life, whether it's in a dream or in real life, Google what it has to say.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
You and I got an interesting situation today, haven't we? We're both aware that there might be the occasional cough or blow of the nose.
Sorry about that. It's my
That's okay.
pharyngitis appearing again, saying, okay, what do I need to learn from that situation?
Right. Now, Mary Ann has a question for us.
Yeah.
What about when animals appear in your dream? There is a message from them.
Yeah. And that's what I say. If it turns up in your dream or turns up in real life, if you don't have a pack of cards somewhere and you're not sure, Google animal messages. And there'll be a website that shows up on your computer that you'll be able to look at the message. So I often say to clients, when something happens in your dream space, it's reminding your subconscious awareness of something, or it's wanting your subconscious awareness to bring something to your conscious awareness. All right. So it's a totally different spectrum at nighttime, because at nighttime when you're dreaming or when you're sleeping, you haven't got control anymore. So you release control to I don't know, to whoever whilst they look after you. So if you're constantly dreaming about something, find out what that animal is about and then go, okay, how is that relevant in my day-to-day life? There'll be a message, there'll be some wording in the story, because each, I know with Scott's messages are quite lengthy, but there'll be a phrase or something in there that tells you something. So just read it, read the whole thing and go, oh, wow. And allow.
Yes, Scott goes into a lot of detail about what the animal might mean. The book is actually called Animal Dreaming, because he relates a lot to the Indigenous people. And
it goes to different countries as well. Like when you're looking up something in Scott's book, you've got to know whether to look up Asia Pacific or whether to look up America. So don't discount if you can't find the animal straight away. Keep looking, because it'll turn up a bit later in the book.
That one's Animal Messages. Isn't it? That's
Okay.
the whole world. His first book, which is based on basically, I was going to say Australian, it's not really, because he refers to the American African Indians as well.
Yep.
So, but he's very much into what animals have meant through history, as well as his own intuition.
Yeah, I must get his cards. I haven't got his cards. I've got that Animal Messages book, but not the Animal Dreaming.
Right. Yes. That one can be quite difficult to find the animals, because they're under.
They're all split all over the place.
Areas,
You've got to keep looking for them. Yeah.
Oh, now Julie Kiss has joined us. Hello,
Julie.
Hello. Oh, and just getting back to Mary Ann. That makes sense. Look, I'm sorry, everyone. Marnie and I were deep in thought, and I've missed a couple of messages. Let me just go to Mary Ann first. That makes sense. I did a psychic course in 2014. With Scott Alexander King.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Yes. I've had a lot to do with Scott over the years. Now, Linda, I have a little peewee bird that comes flying very close to my face, but he always lands just a little bit away from me.
Yeah. So the peewee's part of the magpie range. What magpie does. I didn't pick magpie today, but would be in one of the books.
Go on, Marnie.
I said it'll be in one of my books here.
Right.
And
in a moment when you're talking, I'll check out Scott's book.
Check yours, yeah.
You were mentioning cats. It's really interesting now because the girls have picked up on birds, because Julie says, a bird came to my house. Unlike the black crows, this one was a pigeon with beautiful colours. Stayed for 4 days. Felt like he had a message, but unfortunately I don't know.
No. Well, the magpie is about duality and balance. So the magpies are often called Australia's Jekyll and Hyde. Magpie makes his home. The young ones are grey. Magpie medicine is the yin-yang in perfect balance. Throughout their lives, male and female birds work in unison. So it's about looking for balance and harmony within a relationship. Okay, so that's the main message for it, is about balance and harmony. So if it comes to your hand, he asks you to be aware of and respect those around you.
Right.
Be considerate, compassionate, and honour both male and female energies of those that are looking for help.
Now,
so that's out of the Animal Wisdom book.
Julie, you might like to know about the pigeon as well, and that's here in Scott's book, if I can find it. And Dell has said, Marnie, Australian possum in my backyard. Oh, I love the possums. Black crows, butterflies, white feathers on the ground, sometimes with black and white. Lots. It's interesting because when you find the feathers, you know that your mum's around.
Or it's something I'm thinking about something and I'm wondering about a particular, not so much a challenge, but I'm pondering on something. So the feather is a confirmation of assistance and guidance.
Right. Now, in Scott's book, a pigeon, Julie, is homecoming. The pigeon has a remarkable ability to find its way home, no matter how far it wanders. Pigeons are symbolic of the time we need to return to the warm hearth of home. Pigeons can be invoked to call home those people who are lost or who have lost contact with the family. The pigeon can also be sent on a vibrational level along with a traveller to ensure that their safe return home after their journey, particularly if there is a danger of them falling in love with another possible home in a far-off land.
Okay.
That's an interesting point of view.
Yeah. Well, they call them homing pigeons, don't they?
Absolutely. Yes. Well, so I hope that helps Julie as well as other people. Sheila has joined us. Hello, Sheila.
Hello, Sheila.
And Belinda has to go. We're sorry to see you go too, Belinda.
It's recorded, Belinda.
But thank you so much for coming in for the time that you did. That was lovely. And Julie says, wow, thank you. So I love this interaction, Marnie.
Yes, it's great.
It's really,
we don't
really
always
good.
get it, do we?
Now, No, we haven't.
I'm showing you the next one. So you were relevant with pelicans, and that was one of the things I picked today to talk about. So the pelican is all about simplicity. So the colour message for that today's wrong card is the turquoise, and that tells you to expect good luck. All right, so that's it. So the angels are asking you to be ready because good fortune is on your way. And then the pelican is talking about simplicity. So don't overcomplicate things.
Right. Okay.
So make things a little bit more. I humbly offer my contentment as a message to simplify your life. So come back to some of the more core basics in life rather than being too complicated. It's telling you that my existence is always peaceful and fulfilling. They're also beautiful to watch, aren't they? They're a lovely bird to watch come into land.
Graceful. Yes, and then the way they come into land on the water.
And even the way they swim is calm and peaceful. So that's what it's saying. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be crazy. And if life is crazy, it's saying to you, you need to step back a little bit and you need to calm or find a piece of calm amongst the crazy. And we do that by coming back to simple things, simple, walk on the dewy grass or go and walk along the beach side, because that's where the pelicans live. They live a lot on inlets and waterways.
Right.
And I was surprised when I watched a few different shows that the pelicans overseas are a grayer pelican. They're not as bright white and black as ours.
Right. Yes.
They're
Normally I see them in London. I didn't go to the part of St James Park where they are, so
yeah,
I didn't see them this time. But
yeah,
that's true. You'll notice that when you're
when I go there,
when you're there. Now we have a couple more comments. Sheila saying, I have meditated and a small brown owl with yellow eyes appeared. I think it's the small owl that is on goddess Athena's shoulder.
Well, that's all about wisdom and knowledge, the owl.
Right.
He talks to you about his wisdom, and he's all seeing. So he sees it from all angles. So his lens is not as it's not as, what's the word? It's not seeing it through a simple lens. He sees it from the whole picture.
Right.
You know how some people they sort of narrow down or focus really finely on one thing. The owl is more open to being able to see views from different angles.
Yes. And
so if the owl came to you in a dream or something, he's saying to you is, don't just focus on the little details. What do the little details combined, put together, create? So what's the overall creation that you're doing?
Right. Okay. And yes, Sheila, there are lots of birds in today's episode. Fascinating.
I've got a few things that aren't birds. So, but they're the common animal that a lot of people see and connect with a particular person or a spirit.
Right.
Birds they're abundant. So that's why we'll often think of them as a connection.
Mm. Now, Mary Ann says, and I thought you'd be very interested in this, Marnie, I saw Michelle Newton angel. I saw Michelle Newton angel cards. I use them every day.
Absolutely. They're my go-to cards. I love them. They're simple, they're direct, but they're very heart-centered.
Yeah, so for those who are unaware of Michelle Newton, you can find Michelle on Facebook. Marnie's showing you Michelle's cards there. They are a beautiful, beautiful deck.
They're very easy packed. They're not tarot, so they're colour therapy. So they talk about different colours. And so they're simple even for children to use. They're not overwhelming. And they're not scary.
Yes, divine. So, and Michelle has lots of other interesting, products and things that she offers. So if you're unaware of Michelle, you might like to go to Facebook and check her out.
She's the Angel of Kindness. It's one of her sites. AOK, Angel of Kindness.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So
yes.
The next one was Hopper.
Oh.
So this is for people that are doing business, and the grasshopper showed up for the copper business card. Okay. And the grasshopper tells you to take a leap of faith. That, you trust, sometimes trust yourself and trust what's going on. All right. So you're poised to jump to the next level of your life and move forward to something's even better than you imagined. Have a go. Now, if the outcome is not exactly what you're after, what little aspect of the ingredients that you put into it needs to change to create a different outcome. Don't just say, well, that didn't work and I'm going to throw the whole lot out. Think about, what did I put together to create this that isn't quite what I'm after? So what do I need to change that might create a different outcome?
That makes a lot of sense. So, interesting, because the grasshopper, it jumps, doesn't it? So interesting what it represents.
So the protection message from the grasshopper is, it's hard for you to trust in good fortune because you've been hurt in the past when you took a risk. But that's that whole concept of, okay, the outcome wasn't exactly what I was after, therefore I need to change something or I'll get the same outcome. So what do you need to change? And it's not about that you weren't trustworthy. It's just that some aspect of it needs to be different. Otherwise, you'll get the same old, same old.
Oh, so when you were obviously guided to choose the ones that you did, Marnie.
Yeah, I sat down and thought, okay, well, I'm going to use the angel feather cards first. And then because I'm a practitioner of angel feather cards, they've got the animal totems in them. And then from that, I then looked through my various packs to find the totem card about that particular animal so I could take it a little bit further.
Wonderful.
So it was just a different range of things that showed up.
And of course, we can use packs of cards. Today, we're talking about the totem animals. However, there are so many different types of cards out there.
Yeah.
If it's something that you haven't explored, maybe you'd like to try that. There's a plethora and more and more and more coming all the time. So take yourself off to a bookshop and see what you explore. And
be drawn to the front cover. That's what I find. I'm drawn to the front cover first. When I see a pack, I go, oh, they're interesting, because the cover has drawn me in first. Like the ones from the Australian wisdom cards, they're like traditional earthy kind of tones, but the front cover, I thought, wow, doesn't that look awesome? It was all about knowledge and wisdom from Australia.
Beautiful. See, it's interesting because so many of the shops now let you
play,
have a go. Yeah, there'll be a
pack open.
Yeah, so even to go in and draw a card and see what message you get for a particular day, that's always fun.
What I find is that the message is always relevant to something that's going on in your life. It's never just so random. It's unconnected. It makes sense. And if you've drawn it and you go, not sure about that one, just sit with it. Go away and ponder on it. And all of a sudden you go, oh my God, I know what that's about. So, rather than saying, oh, I didn't draw the right one. You need to just sit with it sometimes. But usually the message is, or the story, I find the story of the card is the bit that connects me, not just the picture or the light phrase, but reading the story. Because all of these card sets have an oracle book that go with them. They've all got the little booklet that talks more about the cards. So that's the one from the Animal Voices, and you can read more about the animals in there, whereas the card itself just has a light message on it. Right? But if you then look further and go further into what they're about, they've got extra messages for you. They're just really awesome. I love them.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And they're good for children too. Like, you imagine having a really simple set that a child can look at and they're drawn to the picture, but then the word, it might be about confidence and learning to have confidence in yourself. And it's like it's a subliminal message, but it's a connected to your heart message.
If you haven't used cards, have a go.
Yeah.
I can remember using even an ordinary pack of playing cards, and it's interesting what might come up, and sit with it, interpret yourself, see if there is a message there.
And trust yourself, trust your own judgment. That's the bottom line, I think, is if something doesn't sit with you, that's totally okay. Not everything sits with everybody, but allow the message, like read the story and go, that's interesting, and just let it sit to one side. It doesn't mean you're going to rush out and buy the set, but there's a reason that you have picked it up in the first place.
Indeed. Well, see, I even find that if I'm drawn to pick up, I don't know, an item, and as I'm going out the door, and it's like, I'm not going to need that. I'm not going there today. And invariably, I have learned that, yes, I take that with me because, yes,
it did rain and I did need the umbrella.
Yes, yeah.
Or I should have taken that jumper. I knew to take the jumper. I just chose not to. Yes.
Precisely.
Yes. Absolutely. All right. Your next one is fuchsia. So it's that beautiful, to learn where the camera is. Beautiful pink. Now it talks about a new home lifestyle or home. So they're asking you to be ready for a change in lifestyle or a change in your residence. And the totem for that one is the turtle. Now the turtle is telling you that slow and steady wins the race, that you don't have to rush out and do something, that you can make an informed decision quietly and slowly. And even in health, change doesn't have to happen immediately. Sometimes change has to change in the pace that your body is accustomed to or able to process. It's not always instant. Sometimes it's a planned process.
I do love the turtles.
Yeah, he's lovely. So his protection message is if you push too hard or rushing to leave others in the dust, it's not the way of the turtle. You need to come back. You need to go more slowly. Remember that you're here being a human, not a human doing. So you're a human being, which is one of your core beliefs, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, so how are we going with those cards, Marnie? Did you say you'd chosen 8?
7. So we're halfway. So we've got 3 to go.
All right.
I don't know what our time is like.
Oh, yes. No, we've got
plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
Okay. So this next one I chose was brown. And the brown is saying that you need to be practical about things. You need to have a common sense approach to things. And the totem animal for that is the ant. And the ant's saying that a practical approach is also a collaborative approach, so that you need to have people around you that can assist you, because they'll it's not a one-man show, that you need to be in a group to get where you're going.
Right.
And ants are, what I find about ants is they're indomitable. Like they'll find a grain of sugar on a floor. You know, their little antennas just go, oh, there it is, and they just go for it until they find it. And you wouldn't think that they're so small. How is their sense of smell so acute? So it's not about being big and large. It's about what are your skills that you're honing at the moment.
And see, people quite often say if they find ants in their home, it's like, oh, they're looking for water. It's going to rain.
Yeah,
I've heard that one. However, I see when we see animals, insects, whatever, there's a message there. So rather than getting out the ant grid, I would suggest just think about, go to a book or Google, as Marnie has already suggested, and see what the message of the ant is.
Yeah. And if you don't want them coming back, use peppermint oil. Put peppermint oil on a little cotton bud and put it in the line where they're traveling. It affects their sense of smell, so they'll go elsewhere.
Right. Because I don't like the idea of sending them off with...
Sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have to be practical, but
yes.
Other times you can find a different way, if you can. Because you also don't really want them in your sugar bowl all the time.
No.
Nothing worse than tasting ants as you're drinking your cuppa. I did that once. So my daughter had moved into a new flat, and it was a kettle on the stove. So we boiled up the kettle, and I didn't look when I was pouring it out. And I poured out the water into my coffee, and as I went to take a drink, I went, oh, and these were great big ants. I nearly got a mouthful of them. They were horrible. So we didn't want them around. It was horrible. So the protection message from the ant is saying, do you really believe that you have to do everything yourself? You need to be able to ask for help as well and collaborate. Yes. And that's what it was about, is finding your team, finding your people that support you and your dreams as well. And if you're surrounded by naysayers all the time, well, you need to, put them in a different circle and find your circle of people that support you.
Fascinating.
They're all different, as I said, they're all different kind of things that showed up.
Yes.
So the next one was the emu. The emu showed up because of the
Another
fawn.
bird.
Another bird,
Flightless
yes, it did show.
bird.
And it came from fawn, where it says difficulties are resolved. And the emu is about endurance and you know, going in for the long haul. And it's not a quick race. Sometimes it takes time for things to happen. They say that the emu has mobility and stealth, which means it can run really fast, and he's a big bird, but he can be really, really quiet as well. What else does
There's a theme running through those cards this morning about taking time.
There was, and it was amazing. It was, to me, it was funny when I was reading them. I'm going, oh, that kind of goes with it all. So it's saying that life doesn't have to be at a rush all the time. You can take things more slowly, and that sometimes the seeds you plant don't fruit straight away. Right? They do take time, and especially if you're going through a challenging time, you need to know that the sun will come out at the end. It's not all doom and gloom. That just keep one step at a time, one day at a time, and then what do you need to put in place today that might help you tomorrow? You know, it might be, have you found the right person to connect with? Have you found the services you need to connect with? You'd be in tune with that with the charity group that you work with, and that, you know, knowing that, you know, the old clothes and jumpers and stuff will find a home for someone because someone really wants that jumper, but they didn't know they were going to get it.
Right.
You know, the group that you work with on a...
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, there is help out there. It's just sometimes we can't see where the help is coming from. So that's where we need to be able to, you know, collaborate or to ask the question or to find our tribe, find our people that will help us.
Yes.
I mean, imagine if an emu is your totem, and you're not going to see them very often, are you? But you see
Not
them
in
the
wild.
Yeah, but you'll see them in photos. Yeah. I know when we're doing our vision boards, I'll read the totem animal out to the clients doing the vision boards, and we then look for a picture of their totem animal and put that on their vision board because it's part of their journey. It's part of the reason they're doing it. Right. And it's not easy sometimes to find some of a goldfish turns up quite often. Geez, finding a goldfish picture is not the easiest.
Be easier to draw one.
Yeah. But it's nice to have the visual on the board as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah. So the emu was, what's his message? Determine your physical strength, observe your legs and feet are carrying you with the agility you need to move forward. So have you got the right things in place? Are you going in the direction of your goal, or are you stopping to check behind you all the time? So if we keep turning around all the time, we're not facing the direction that we're moving towards. You know, so start to be confident about moving forward.
Sometimes we can be constantly looking at the clock as well.
Yeah.
And rather than going, okay, I've got half an hour, this is what I'm going to do, or I'm going to do this, give myself X amount of time to do this. I found at times the more I looked at the clock, the more agitated I became.
Yes, because you think, I'm not going to have time.
I'm uptight. Yeah. And it was, whereas when I can do it the other way, it's done easily. It's fabulous.
It's like when sometimes with workshops and stuff, you have to set times, but you set it and forget it. And then if you've got like a little bell to remind you when the time comes up, it stops people worrying, because sometimes they worry about things too long. So there are times you need to set a boundary, and that boundary might be a time boundary. And it's the same for grief. If you're experiencing a lot of grief at the moment, there's nothing wrong at all about grieving about something or someone, but set a time limit to it. Otherwise it takes over your life, you know, and allow yourself to grieve for a set time, and then go, right, now, tomorrow I'll grieve some more, but for now I need to focus on what I'm doing. Otherwise we get caught. We can't come out of it. We don't wallow in it, but we just can't climb our way out.
I like that. If something is concerning us, you've got that idea in your book, haven't you, Marnie?
Yeah.
About setting a time in the diary where I can sit down and ponder the little bottle of things that I've been concerned about.
Because if you don't let it go, it just keeps going in your head, and it becomes this vicious circle, and it's really hard to break the pattern. That's what I find anyhow. So
yes. So be able to make an appointment with oneself.
Yeah, and give self, because the more you worry about something, you'll often find yourself saying, "Oh, I shouldn't be worried about that," or someone will say, "What are you worrying about that for?" It is of no benefit to ask that question, because if you're worrying about something, there's a reason you're worrying about it.
Yes,
but you can limit the length of time you put into that worry. So write it on a piece of paper, make an appointment to visit it, and on that time, if there's nothing you can do about what's worrying you, worry about it for a set time. And I often use the egg timer, the old-fashioned egg timer. Give yourself 3 minutes. Turn the egg timer up and worry however you want for those 3 minutes. After that 3 minutes are up, turn the egg timer back up and put that worry away again. And what you'll find is that in time, it either disappears or solutions turn up. Right? And either of those two things are great. Or it's someone else's worry and not your worry, and you're worrying about it. That's not really beneficial to your highest good. You know, sometimes you can give them to the angels and say to the angels, "Look, I can't see the way forward for this. How about you guys work on it behind the scenes? And then give me a non-cryptic hint that a solution has turned up." I don't do cryptic as well as I do common sense.
Well, no. Yes. So we have these strategies, don't we? We have all of this help around us, and a lot of the time we tend to forget to ask, especially, you know, if we are anxious about something. Maybe I've lost something and I'll go, "Oh, I wonder where that is." I'm getting better at asking.
Yeah.
Because there is there's a simpler way of doing things than getting concerned.
Yeah. Because it doesn't, worrying about a particular thing doesn't help at all. But in saying that, it's hard not to.
Sure.
All right. So be proactive in your worry. Actually give it some direction and some help. And our last card is the beautiful rainbow feather card, which is a special blessing. Right? And that one comes from the dolphin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the dolphin is this and that are true. So it's kind of like it knows, it's an all-knowing kind of energy. So the dolphin is not on there. Card number 20. Wow. You just can't keep everything in your head all the time. So you get help. You have these little books that help you.
Yes.
So the dolphin spirit is a reminder of duality. The dolphin is both mammal and sea creature. So it's a bit of this and a bit of that. All right. But it's also magical. So the dolphin it's got really magic energy to it as well. All right. So within clouds, there are silver linings. So although there's a cloud, there's a silver lining. So it's a bit like the yin and the yang. You have a bit of the white in the dark and a bit of the dark in the white. And that's totally okay. But together they make yin yang. So when you want to, his protection message is when you want to be acknowledged as right and see the other person as wrong, dolphin spirit appears as a reminder that the story of your suffering is more complicated than what you're admitting right now. So, you know, the dolphin is to me, it's a symbol of hope, isn't it? Like if you see a dolphin, it's coming to the surface and it's just giving you this lovely human message. Because they're very connected to humans, dolphins.
Yes, they certainly are. They've done some brilliant work, haven't they, with impaired children. How do we say it? Sometimes disabled.
Oh yeah. Because they connect at a heart level.
They connect with them so well.
Yeah,
it's beautiful to see them in action with them.
Yeah. I remember we took Mum wanted to go to SeaWorld for her 80th birthday, and she was in awe of the dolphin show. She sat there sobbing because she was just so connected to it. And she wasn't sobbing sadly. She was just so moved by the dolphin show.
Right.
And I wouldn't have thought that she never mentioned before that she had any affinity to dolphins.
Right.
But it was just such a beautiful message of love.
Yes, they are. They are gorgeous. One of my granddaughters said to me when I got home on Saturday, I had happy tears yesterday when I was told that you were coming home.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that term happy tears is going to become a family word, because I just think that's gorgeous. Different to the tears she was shedding when I left. They're
very simple
fortunate.
messages from children, aren't they? They're very direct.
Can be, yes, that's it. And we're very fortunate, you and I, to have the families that we have. And to those grandmas out there, like grandparents out there, like Belinda, another friend of mine has recently become a grandmother. Very, very special.
It is. Especially when you allow it to be.
And that goes for everything in life. And sometimes we can get caught up and life becomes very complicated, and to be able to strip it back to the simplicity, even to the point, Marnie, where I know that something is concerning me and it's like, well, what is it? Because sometimes it can be so wrapped up that what I think is concerning me isn't really. When I get down to the bare bones, it can be something else. And once we've identified anything like that, well, then we're able to act on it rather than remaining in a confused, anxious state.
Knowledge is power. When you can identify what's worrying you or what's challenging you, you can actually do something about it. So if you don't know what it is, how do you know if a solution shows up? You don't. So if you can sort of step back and look in and say, okay, what is concerning me at the moment? Or do I know how I feel? What's the emotion I'm feeling? And the emotion, when it shows up, it'll have a connection. You'll go, really? Oh my God, why is this happening? And there's always people you can ask,
There's always
people you can ask for help.
Sometimes, especially those of us who like to be independent, I've learned in my travels now. I used to be so independent. Someone would ask whether I needed some help with my case, and I'd say, oh, no, thank you. No, I'm fine. And here I am struggling with a handbag and 2 bags. Now I've learned. And I've also learned to ask. I had to negotiate several flights of stairs to get to the train, and it was like, excuse me, would you be able to help me with a bag?
Yeah.
And that was so, well, it's fabulous when people usually say yes.
Yes, and if they say no, well, you just go, oh, well.
That's okay, you go for the next person.
Yeah.
But it made it much safer for me as well, because trying to get down a flight of stairs with 2 cases, come on, that can be a real daunting task.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so
where was your favourite spot?
Oh, wherever I was.
Yes.
I'm very, very, very fortunate. And we live in such a wonderful, wonderful planet. But I think to be aware that, yes, there is help around us, whether it be our family, whether it be our friends, whether it be strangers, whether it be the spirit world, whether it be our animal totems or our angels.
Or just a billboard that tells you to smile and have a great day.
Yes, exactly.
That can be just as uplifting sometimes. A lot of cafes and stuff have great messages on their billboards.
Oh, don't they?
But you need to take the time to read them, because if you're so busy being busy, you're not going to see them.
I like the cafes that have a daily saying outside.
Yeah, there's some lovely ones, and there's some really funny ones too. Like some of them have got a real sense of punning, so they have an extra meaning, which for me is lovely because Mum was a punner, and it sort of brings her forward again.
Yes. Oh, there's so much to be grateful for, so much to look forward to. I like to think that there's magic in every day, and
Yeah.
if I'm failing, if I cannot see it easily, like the sun shining down here at the moment, so that's magic for me.
Well done. It's actually shining up here as well. So,
well, that's even more magic, isn't it?
It was decided chilly this morning when I got outside. I went, oh my God, I need a jumper.
We're very fortunate when we can see magic in the simple things.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a bird that knocks on the window to gain our attention. Pay attention to the type of bird that it is. Maybe
we once, many years ago, my daughter and I were sitting in the lounge room at our old house, and we could hear this knocking. And she looked at me, and I looked at her, and we said, "Hear knocking?" We were both, "Yeah, we can hear knocking." And you looked out, we had the glass panel beside the door, and we couldn't see anyone there, so it was a bit strange. And we kept hearing this knocking. And when she got up and went to the door, there was this little magpie gosling on the bottom thing, knocking on the window pane. And it was this little grey and orange ball of fluff. We couldn't work out what it was. We ended up having to, I think I took a photo and put it on Facebook and asked someone on Facebook, because it wasn't a duck and it wasn't a, we couldn't work out what it was because it wasn't normal. I thought it might have been a pelican at one stage, a pelican baby. How it got to our place, we didn't know. But it turned out to be a magpie goose gosling. And it had hatched out of season and had travelled from this little waterway down the road a bit, across the road, through our paddock with dogs and everything on it, and got to our front door and knocked. And Catherine took it up to the Australia Zoo. But, it was really funny too. We were both hearing this knocking, couldn't see a thing until we went outside. So, they'll get our attention.
Absolutely. Yes, the crows were good at knocking on my windows. Okay. And likewise, I think it was someone at the door until I realised that, oh, no, it's
just the crow.
Oh, just gorgeous.
Yeah. And did anyone else have any more questions in our little chat box?
No, the chat's gone quiet. So,
okay, well, let's hope we answered some questions for some people. And as I said, if anyone needs a message read or a message worked out, just reach out.
Yes. And people, if you would like to reach out to Marney, who amongst her many talents is a trained kinesiologist. Yep. So Marney's website is Kinique, KINIQUE.com.au.
No AU.
No AU. No as AU. Soon as I said it, I thought, no. Yeah. So let's do that again. You can do it this time, Marney.
Okay, it's Kinique, KINIQUE.com. You'll find me on Facebook, and you'll find me, Facebook and my website.
Beautiful. And as well as being a very, caring kinesiologist, Marney has lots of products that help us in dealing with daily life.
So my latest one is Soul Imprints, and that's for the help when either someone or a fur baby passes. It's a reminder to tap back into all the memories and the blessings they gave us in life, and use those as moving forward rather than the grief that we find at the time. So it's a connection to the various memories that they've already gifted us, which were blessings from the past for our current self.
Lovely. Now we have Kerry joining us. Thank you. Hello. Have a beautiful day. Well, I think that's a lovely, lovely note to end on, Marney.
Absolutely.
We wish everybody, thank you, Kerry. Yes, have a beautiful day. And add to the beauty yourselves. Pass on the love. Thank you, Marney. Thank you, everybody who has chosen to be with us this morning. Wherever you are, whatever the time happens to be. Thank you. By all means, check out Angel Heart Radio on Facebook page. Anaya's so prolific with what goes up there. Yeah. And people often say to me, Marney, Oh, I forget too about your show. Well, the thing is, nobody has to be here live. It's great when people are, like the people who've shared with us this morning. However, you can wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning and use one of our shows to relax you and send you back to sleep.
Yeah. Whatever show you listen to at whatever time is relevant to your life.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
Enjoy.
Thanks, Annette.
Hope that we have been helpful as well as fun. Bye for now.